come out of London, near Surrey, I'm surrounded by hours of nature, walks. Hold on a second. Is that a London tram? Yes, I am in Mitcham Common, one of the biggest green spaces in London. But let's finish my walk, leave the Common, and have a look at Mitcham Junction Station. The station is in South London. Similar to somewhere like Clapham, Mitcham is a sprawling town with 3 stations. This station is not actually very close to the town of Mitcham. On a rail map, it's a connector blob, being shaded in green thanks to the tramlink stop. Whilst named a junction, the tram and the train aren't technically joined, with the name junction coming from its history. More on that later. It's a peaceful place. Sitting on the platforms, you're surrounded by nature. If you hang around, you'll see a steady trickle of services, making it a lovely place to watch trains. The station is split into 2 distinct areas, a tram station and a rail station. You get a great view of this from the rail footbridge. On the left is the familiar National Rail Station, unremarkable to most, and on the right is the less familiar tram stop, with its signature green painted on everything. Everything feels separate, suggesting the station is managed by TfL and Southern separately. So behind me is the once hourly service to Horsham. There's also a once hourly service to Dorking. Effectively, they're the same train. This one just goes a bit further. Should we look at a map? From Mitcham Junction, you can get a twice hourly service to St Albans, with most taking that service to the Thameslink core. There is also a twice hourly service to Victoria, which is just 4 stops. Both these trains run back via Sutton, with the Thameslink stopping there and the Southern services running into Surrey. Then we move to the tram side. These are Croydon trams, with a tram to its hub station of East Croydon taking 23 minutes. That takes you around one of the Croydon one-way loops. All the trams in the other direction run to Wimbledon train station, linking with the District line. That takes 12 minutes, minus that walk it's added. Comparing old and new maps, you can see why the station was originally named a junction. Looking at a current day map, you can see the National Rail line coming down to the main station platforms. It then bends down and continues on to Sutton. You can see the tram line coming in from the left, stopping at Mitcham Junction tram stop and then crossing the National Rail line towards Croydon. Not technically a junction. Now, if we look back at historic maps, we can see the true junction. Following the lines in exactly the same way, we can start with the current National Rail line, which is unchanged. It's using the same station and still bending down towards Sutton. It's the tram line that's seen major works. Starting again from the left, we can see the rail lines coming in and using the main station, no extra station pinned onto the side. It then continues towards Croydon without a bridge. So here it is in practice, a train bending in from the Sutton line and a tram coming over that line on a newly constructed bridge. Okay, so I'm going to ride that tram over the single track bridge, have a look on the outside, and then eventually get back to the original space where the tracks used to take you towards Croydon. In the tram, you climb above the trees on the newly constructed bridge and then cross over the railway tracks. Once you come off that bridge down the other side, you're back onto original railway land, where tracks always ran towards Croydon. Annoyingly, my camera decided to film this next clip in slow motion. But here is a shot from the driver's cab heading back towards Mitcham Junction station. You can see the original dual tracks becoming one before the new bridge. It's likely that this bridge was constructed with one track to save costs. As the track comes down to one, it becomes very steep, something I suspect a train could never climb. Here I come down that bridge back into Mitcham Junction station. Mitcham does have a ticket office, located in the main station building. It's open daily, and Southern staff man the booth as well as maintaining the station. It's not very exciting inside. There's very little space, no community touches, and barely anywhere to sit if you wanted to keep warm or dry. It comes out onto the Sutton-bound platform on the other side from the trams. If you wanted to use this ticket office and then get to the tram step-free, you're in for a long journey. Originally, you would have needed to take the road on the right, which would have been even longer. There is now a newer ramp which takes you up to the bridge to get to the other side. Now, looking on Google Maps, you can see how the ramp has changed. Back in 2009, there were some very ugly structures alongside the station. I suspect these were industrial units. You can also see the construction site for the new ramp. Eventually, everything was destroyed to make way for a smart-looking public area. This has remained unchanged with the addition of some weeds along the way. When accessing the main station from the tram, you use this very uneventful archway. I wondered if this was used as a back entrance before the trams, or if it opened up with the construction of Tramlink. However, looking at an old map, you can see that it is original. I'm surprised by this, and I would love to see a photo of its original days. When looking at these maps, I noticed the buildings south of the station. I mentioned that Mitcham Junction is surrounded by parklands. Well, it is. What you see in the old map is Mitcham Gun-Site. Mitcham Gun-Site was originally built back in the war as an anti-aircraft machine. After the war, it was abandoned, with some of the buildings being used as temporary housing. The weapons themselves were huge and used by squatters, with newspapers describing it as Mitcham's biggest eyesore. It was eventually demolished at a considerable cost. One thing that's remained consistent over a long period of time is the station's connections to a golf club. I do wonder if this station is the closest in the world to an entrance of a golf club, being about a 30-second walk. Know of any closer? Over on the other side of the station, you'll often see people sprinting up this ramp. Why? They're running for the bus. Tramlink falls under the same oyster system as buses. This means your bus fare is valid on the tram. You'll notice when using the station that many people from the tram transfer to the bus, even if they're just going 1 or 2 stops. It's completely free, so why walk from the station to home if you could take the bus for free? Here's one of those buses. Confusingly, it's marked as the 403 on the back, but it's actually the 127. The 403 runs from Wallingham in Surrey. They must use the same depot. One perk if you are waiting for the bus is the view from the bridge. You can see all 4 tracks. Now, I mentioned Mitcham Common is one of London's largest green spaces. You just keep zooming, it's a sea of green. Whilst the individual spaces aren't as well merged as somewhere like Richmond Park, that's not to say you couldn't walk for hours. And as you walk away from the roads and railway, thanks to the low density of the area, you'll likely hear nothing and see nobody. Thanks to those parks, the area has barely changed over time. Looking at historic street view, you'd be hard-pressed to find any difference. Yes, the cars are a bit older, the modern tram sign is missing, but other than that, nothing's really changed. Rare for London. Even the cycle paths are the same. The station has easy access to Mitcham Common. Walk along this busy road for about 30 seconds and the entrance will be on your left. Busy road behind me. I do want to show you some of Mitcham Common because it is absolutely beautiful and massive. It's worth a visit. The story of Mitcham Common is big enough for a video in itself. But in short, Mitcham and the local residents have been fighting for this common for hundreds of years. The area I'm standing in has been fairly consistent over time. However, other areas of the park have bounced from rubbish tips to hazardous waste dumping sites to land for travelling gypsies. Thanks to the fighting of residents, everything is now parkland. You can walk from luscious heath fields to dense forest, and the best part is you rarely see anybody. So I've started and finished my day in the beautiful Mitcham Common, a great place to imagine a time when Mitcham Junction was actually a junction. Thanks for watching. If you haven't already subscribed, please do. I'm a brand new channel, so it would really help.
Sutton via Hackbridge has been cancelled. This is due to a shortage of train crew.